Well, let's begin. First, we're going to go over what PikaOS 4 is. PikaOS 3 was built off of Ubuntu, but it was a modern Ubuntu. It was a Ubuntu without snaps. It was an OS that you have full control over, but Ubuntu presented issues, restrictions, and it was really annoying to work with. I should know I have insight in all the channels, and I see the frustrations the developers went through. Now, PikaOS 4 was a huge endeavor. It was taking an Ubuntu base and instead translating it over to a Debian base. And I know they're pretty much the same thing, but there's a lot of changes that need to be done. They had to rebuild everything from the ground up, every single thing. That's a ton of packages. So it's custom built sources. It's optimized package compilation using LTO, so link time optimization, and AVX2 to improve performance. There's game enhancements. It comes with pre-installed drivers and gaming-focused tweaks. There's package management improvements. So it introduces Pikmin, a wrapper that simplifies package management by integrating multiple package managers. This thing is just, it's what Debian should be. That's what I always end up saying. Now, they do include NSYNC, they do include updated message drivers, firmware updates, they have an NVIDIA DLSS switcher, they have Pipewire updates, they have modern NVIDIA drivers, they have everything. It is an out-of-the-box, go-to experience just for you, okay? It's incredible. You would love it. Now, the video quality might be, noticeably lower due to the fact that NVENC is currently not working because I updated the RC5 kernel and for some reason the driver did not recompile its headers or whatever for NVIDIA, the modules. So if you notice less video quality, that is the reason why, and hopefully it's nothing horrible. Now, they had an update today. That update is the ISO we're going to be using today, so it's a brand new ISO. It includes the 6.14.5 kernel with NT-Sync. That's a CachyOS kernel, by the way, with some included packages that they did, patches they did themselves. There's also PikaFetch included by default. They've updated the message drivers. They've updated the firmware. They're now on GNOME 48.1. They're now on KDE 3.4. And about 18,000 or more other packages have been updated. Wowie zowie. That is a lot. They are like no other developers you've ever seen. These two are just lightning bolts that just never stop striking the right tune, So the NVIDIA ISO should only be used for RTX cards. GTX 1080 Ti should use the regular ISO right here. So there you go. I'm not going to be using Hyperlink with this, as much as I do appreciate Hyperlink. I really don't want to have to set up Hyperlink to look like this again just for a video. So instead, we're going to go with the Gnome ISO because it's honestly the easiest to use and one of the most stable desktop environments that you can have currently, and you can optimize it to hell and back. And that's no exaggeration. I mean to hell and back. Oh, another thing, thanks to a friend of mine, now that I open this, you can see that the colors actually do fully change according to the background, which is nice. So let's find the download button. Since I am using the 9070 XT to record and I will be using it to game, we're going to be grabbing the Gnome edition. And they have pretty fast download servers for their ISOs, which is really nice. Now, I don't know if this ISO currently does work with Ventoy. If not, I ain't taking the risk. Instead, it's not really a risk. I mean, you just have to boot back in, and that reached up to 100 megabytes. You just have to boot back in, and you just have to make it, you have to write it a different way. So there we go. That's done. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to kill this. We're going to open up the disk utility. We're going to go for the 16 gig drive. We're going to restore an image. I'm going to go grab an image. Sorry about this. Where are you? PikaOS. And then I'm going to start restoring. That's it. That's how you can just easily write things with the Gnome disk utility. You don't need to download anything else. There's no, believe Balena Etcher. There's no Rufus. There's nothing like that. If you're on Windows, use Rufus, obviously. But yeah. Any questions about my Hyperland? I'm still learning it. You're going to have to wait if you want a video guide on it, but I made it look exactly like it does on my Gnome, minus the weather and clock being all massively weird and stuff. I still have to fix that. What I want to do is I want to move all of this right here into the center and have just that over there on the side. I think that would look the best. And I love having this right here. So when I play a song, obviously what we get is it'll notify you in the bottom. So if I open this up, it changes to unknown title and artist. And because I don't want any copyright strikes, I hit play. And that starts. All right, it's done. So here's what we're going to do instead. I will be installing this on my main system, of course, but for now, I'm going to be using Virt-manager to show the overall installation of everything, because it's a lot easier to show the installation in its entirety that way than you really think it is. People, they yell at me for using a virtual machine. Those people are kind of sad individuals when you really think about it. So I'm actually going to go and delete this. And goodbye. So starting up this installation, if you want to try this out, all you have to do is you have to browse local. You have to find your PikaOS ISO. And mine's add in my downloads folder, which is filled with stuff you're not allowed to see. We're going to just type Debian. We're going to go with Debian 13. And we're going to hit forward. This is just not enough RAM for anything these days, even Debian related, let's be completely honest. I'm going to give it 16 gigs. I know it's a little bit excessive, but hey, it's my choice in life, right? I'm going to give it 100. I am going to give it 100 gigs because I'm built that way. And we're going to name this PikaOS 4. Okay. It's not going to let us, but we're going to do that instead. Okay. And we're going to want to customize. Yeah. Finish. Yes. So first thing I'm doing is I'm removing my NIC because it never works anyway on Arch Linux. It works out of the box, no problem on Fedora. But when it comes to Arch Linux, for some reason, it never wants to do its thing. So I'm going to select this, and that will give us internet and Wi-Fi. And we're going to do that. And what we're going to do is this. And of course, we're going to be selecting, oh, look at that, AMD 6000 chip PCI switch downstrip port render. That's cool. We're going to select our 9070 XT so we can actually have some acceleration. For this, we're going to want to be on UEFI. That's a must. And other than that, we're going to want to have the ISO be the first boot option. Yep, that looks fine to me. Looks good on that front. Enable the boot menu for any issues you might have, and begin installation. Should be no problems after that. I love how it's not able to find certain things. So this is Refind. Refind is their bootloader of choice. It's super easy to use. If you're dual booting with Windows, it's the perfect add-on. And well, it really shouldn't have many issues at all. So we're going to do this instead, just so that we can, you know, be able to see everything fully, okay? All right, so I know that this is going to look a little bit squished, but you got to bear with me until we can get into the desktop environment to do the installation. It is definitely going to look a little squished because, yeah, there's your reason why. And if we, I'm going to just minimize this here real quick. And we're going to go to display settings, and I'm going to crank this all the way up to 1080p, which should hopefully make it look normal now. Not really. I think maybe there's something wrong with my filter. Yep, there we go. So, where do we actually begin? Well, this right here is the PikaOS boot up screen. Okay, it's the installation. Yeah, you can use the live OS if you need to, but we're here to install. So select your language, of course. If it's in here, it's in here. The default is US. If you go through here, here's the terms of service or the user license agreement. And this is your keyboard. The default, of course, is the US. You could test your keyboard right there. Let me click this. This is your time zone. Feel free to type it in. Search bar is up top. It'll automatically find it. And then you can automatically partition the drive, or you can manually. Manually is if you were installing alongside Windows. The manual partition, you're going to need a root, you're going to need a boot, and you're going to need a secondary boot, I believe, to be able to get things working. It's kind of easy to do. You just choose some empty space on the end of your current hard drive. You add a 2 gig boot drive, which should be a FAT32. Then you add a secondary boot, which I believe is going to be an ext4 or Btrfs. I'm not really sure in how they do it anymore. We'd have to select the disk to be able to see. There's advanced options right there. So no. And I'm going to choose XFS. XFS is my choice. You're good with either one of these. Now this allows you to have what are called backup little backups that you're able to restore, and you can do that if you want to. I don't usually need to do that, but if you're like a beginner and you're worried about breaking your system, it's always a good way to do things. But yeah, and then it will show you, well, I guess it doesn't really actually show you what's being done, is it? So that's the installer, and the installer is one of the fastest you'll ever find, because all it's doing is just, I believe, DDing it multi-threaded over onto the drive itself. Writing image to target disk. Yeah, see that? And then it's pretty much done after it copies extra packages. There it is. So a part of me wants to reinstall this to do things on live hardware. Like, I really do. And honestly, I think that would be pretty cool if I did. But I'm just not so sure. Like, I'm happy with CachyOS as it is. So I think we're going to talk as much as possible within this, you know, to be able to actually show you off PikaOS to the best of my ability inside of a VM. And then I will basically hand it over to real hardware. And as you can see, there's nothing there. So you would need to usually, oh, Wi-Fi. Okay, let me just enter my Wi-Fi real quick. There we go. I like how it shows me something is out of date when we're not even connected to the internet. That was correct. I don't know why that's not working. There we go. Okay. Next, you enter your username. I'm just going to enter Matt. We're going to enter the host name, password, and then it asks you to reboot again so we can get everything all set up, ready to go. Yeah, the boot up times should be fairly quick. They should not really hold you back any. They should be much faster than there is on Windows. And logging in, super simple and easy. By default, you're given a Wayland experience, which works very, very well, by the way. And as you can see, it doesn't allow us to actually do 1440p inside of the virtual machine, and that's a thing. It's an unfortunate one, but it is what it is. So what do you get out of this? Let's go over the default installed application. So if we open this, it's a welcome to PikaOS. You can update the system, install patented media codecs and libraries. You can open the driver manager, you can open the kernel manager, install more software, web apps. So we're going to go with this first. So this is where you'll end up updating everything. As you can see, there's no updates because the newest ISO came out today. So installing media codecs is something that you kind of have to do, right? And there's driving manager. This is the same driver manager that you'll end up finding on Nobara as well, because it was built for both. And yeah, we're going to just drag that up here out of the way. Bring this down. So as you can see, there's my Red Hat GPU. Everything's working the way that it should. And there's the latest version of Git if you want to install it. This is basically experimental with the latest changes from Mesa. This will show you all your drivers and stuff. So your human interface devices, you know, you name it, it's in here. And it's very cool the way they have all this done out of here. Like, it would obviously show your real hardware if you were on real hardware. You know what I mean? So this is where you're going to deal with your kernel, okay? And there's a button here where you can do some configuring. You know, if you want Bathland, Central, you can do all that just fine. This changes some performance variables for certain games. They'll run faster on this one or this one or this one. It all just depends. Try each one and see where you get. And of course, there's this button. It's the kernel repo. So it allows you to grab past kernels and even possibly future kernels. I don't see 6.15 here anywhere, which is unfortunate. 6.15. You possibly maybe have to open it, add another repo or something. Who knows? But yeah, there you go. That's nice. So there's the install more software from PikaOS manager itself. It's not actually a manager, it's just GNOME software. And there's the PikaOS utilities, so that installs Steam, Lutris, Go Overlay, Mango HUD, Wine, Winetricks, and a lot more. And then there's the extra utilities, so Bottles and Heroic Game Launcher. There's device setup for VR equipment and controllers. You can install junk software like Kden Live, Krita, Blender, and then you can install OBS right here. You can adjust the look and feel. So if we launch this, this allows us to choose what we want. So if we want a Windows-like environment, we got it. Okay, don't ask again. Oh my God, it's so needy. There's an Apple-like layout. Don't show again, Jesus. There's the original Ubuntu look layout. What did I just tell you? The Just Perfection has become extremely needy for donations, and the pop-up is one of the worst things about it now. If you want a GNOME 2-like environment, there you go. Go away. Thank you. If you want just a normal traditional layout for Windows, there you go. So yeah, it's really kind of interesting what can be done here. And minus the needy extensions. Again, you can also go and set that so you know you have your accent colors and everything else like that. And the cool part is, if we go into display, if you have an HDR display, you'll find HDR in here. I believe if you have variable refresh rate, you'll find that in here as well. So now I have to come to the difficult part of actually installing this myself on real hardware to do. I'm going to cover just 2 games just to show off the performance. I'm not doing like 5 or 6. I'm going to choose Days Gone Remastered, and I'm going to choose Oblivion, and that's it. Okay, 2 titles, just so you have you know, an understanding of something, and you can compare that to whatever you want. You have to remember, I have the 9070 XT, which has performance issues on Mesa still. They're still working out all the kinks and the issues. Ray tracing performance can be a little bit lower than Windows. DirectX 12 performance can be a little bit lower than Windows, and hopefully they'll get this fixed eventually. This is not a PikaOS issue. This is a Mesa issue. All right, I installed it anyway on real hardware. Happy. I said I would anyway, so let's jump into this. As I said, we'll do what needs to be done overall, and let's hit launch with the device manager here real quick. As you can see, I haven't installed the NVIDIA driver at all. Okay. In fact, if I hit stop, I can disable the device completely and get rid of it. It's gone, which actually helps me a lot in situations I only want to ever use the 9070 XT. So this is actually a huge improvement over CachyOS. I wish they had that. I wish this would get ported over because it's a really cool thing. And then you have this, the Rawcom driver stack. And then you have a wrapper version, okay, of proprietary graphics driver, which should give you more stuff in OBS. This is really cool. I like this. This is really nice. And if you don't understand why, well, life is lost on you. And I should probably explain it. I'm not that guy. I'm going to explain it. It means you get more options for recording and streaming. And that in itself is really cool. There's my mouse. So pixel art, imaging, ink. So that's my glorious mouse. It's the Model i2 wireless. Fantastic mouse, do recommend. Now that my Keychron K10 is fixed, I had to replace the backspace switch. I have no issues with that. And there again is my MicroStar lights from my motherboard, which I usually have disabled. That's really nice to see that all of this is in here. You can see your devices. So if you need to, I guess it's not really complete, but it's there, which is interesting. Again, we don't need to touch the kernel manager, but we are going to need to install all of this. So once again, this installs Steam, Lutris, Mango HUD, Go Overlay, Wine Tricks, everything needed for gaming, including all the dependencies. So now that that's installed, we end up clicking here. We go down here. By the way, this shows your apps if you're new to Gnome. You can also drag your applications down and pin them if you need to. We go over here. You can see we now have Steam. We now have Heroic. We now have Lutris. We also have Proton Plus, which is a huge one, and VLC Media Player. So that allows for a lot of cool stuff to happen. And I'm going to clear out some stuff I don't need. We're going to unpin this. We're going to unpin this. We're going to unpin that. I'm going to move this up here. And yeah, organization needs to be done of that bar by you individually. But yep. So let's go over Proton Plus before continuing onward, because I want to like stay in a good mood here. This is where you can grab your Proton version of GE, CachyOS, even TKG. There's Wine Vanilla, Wine Staging, TKG. There's a lot of different options. Wine GE is dead. Try to remember that. You don't need to use it anymore. People use it for default installations of programs and stuff, but immediately you should be switching to one of these 6. I've not really used these, but they're basically wine builds compiled from official Wine HQ sources, so that's kind of cool. And this is a wine build with staging patch set, and this is wine build with staging patch set and many other useful patches. So that's pretty great that we have these options. So all you do is you click this button, it does its installation, and it shows up in other applications. Great. Let's head back here. So this is for extras. Okay. Now, it says it installs the Heroic Game Launcher, but the Heroic Game Launcher was already installed by the first option. So maybe that's something I need to let them know that, you know, that it does. Oh, it's using a Flatpak. I don't like Flatpaks. It's a lot of Flatpaks. Yeah, so that's a thing. Go away. And once that's installed, you're good to go. And this installs UDEB rules, configurations for many devices, such as game controllers and VR equipment. I don't need to install that. I don't need to install any of this crap here. Again, PikaOS comes bare bones. All right. What I do need to do is I do need to change my layout to what I normally put it as. There we go. That makes me happy. Never show again. We need to go to tweaks. Don't mind me. I'm not like really, you know, going to be jumping fully into this. So I just need you to bear with me. I just need to make this usable real quick, because right now it's not something I will be really using like as it is. Go away, desktop icons. I don't need you. Get rid of you. You're fine. You're fine. Okay, great. So this program that it comes with is called Extension Manager. This allows you to install extensions directly from your desktop and make life super easy for you right out of the box. What makes a good distro beginner friendly is to support all things. You support KDE, you support Cosmic, you support Gnome in all the best ways, and you make a lot of people really, really, really happy, and that's what you want to do. Because you want the user to have a really, really, really good time. And there we go. So, yeah, making things usable is fun. Learning about how to customize Gnome, super fun. You can find it in the oh wow, wait, that was already set. You could find that in the description below on how to do that. There's a playlist. It's massive. Has everything you'll ever want to know about Gnome and how to customize it and things like that. Thank you for that. Oof. I was really happy when Cosmos did that, when he actually found my way of Gnome looking really good. And I don't know if he did that because of what I've done, or if he's just done that because of it just works a whole lot better, you know. It's one of those things. I'll turn that off. There we go. Clean-ish. You know, I like everything super together up here instead of being miles apart. And as always, I want to add my blur my shell, which completely transforms the entire desktop into something that is beautiful, to say the least. All right, let's go over. Actually, I believe that's it. We already showed off the Pika Update Manager. Yeah, I guess there's just the gaming to do. So I'm going to go record Days Gone Remastered with Mango HUD enabled, and I'm also going to record some Oblivion, I guess. Oh my god, thank you. Mango Juice is here. Go overlay is not something I would ever suggest for new beginners because it's just really buggy and tends to break a lot. So this application right here is really, really good for handling everything else, and you can actually save as wherever you need to save it. It doesn't just work for, you know, memory frequency. We want model, voltage, max temperatures. Vulkan driver I don't care about. Core temperature's good. If we go to extras, there is one thing I do want. Okay, my diagram is still there. So it's using what I normally use. So we should be good to go for Mango HUD. Again, this video is sort of long because going over this and showing you how easy it is for things like, I don't know if there's an actual package manager here to deal with things. Like, I believe there's this. There's Simpatico, which should look deep inside the repositories. Yeah, this is kind of outdated, like extremely outdated, but it should still get the job done even today. So there's a search button somewhere. Is there a search button? Package, yada yada yada, settings. Where does it's over here. Look at that. Search. Discord. Finds Discord. Discord Canary. It's all there. So yeah, there's your package manager. I'll be back. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video about PikaOS. I did a lot more gaming on stream than I meant to. I cut out all the audio, all the stuff I was speaking, so it's just a floating webcam. But it still looks pretty damn good. Yeah, they've definitely improved AV1 streaming for, you know, AMD. So that's pretty nice. PikaOS went great. There was no issues with it at all. The only thing I missed was the 6.15 RC5 kernel, which does provide a lot of stability and performance for the 9070 XT, which is a GPU that was primarily used across this entire video, okay? Except for editing. Editing currently takes place on the 4070 XT because it just looks overall better. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, like this. This is your beginner-friendly distro. If you're coming from Ubuntu and you want something that is still built off of Debian, this is it right here. It has a GUI for everything, and if it lacks a GUI for something, you know, if you have any requests, the PikaOS developers are really good at providing and, you know, supporting those requests as long as it's something sensible. Have a great day, guys. Check the description below for downloading PikaOS, and I'll see you guys in the next one.